So aside from tapering on the training front, what else am I doing this week? Race week? Hi, I'm Eddie. Welcome back to Man of a Certain Age. I'm a guy in my mid-50s who signed up for my first triathlon, which is happening this weekend. Today, I'm talking to you from underneath my dining table because I'm based in Taipei. And this week, race week, we've been suffering all sorts of aftershocks after the 7.4 earthquake that hit Taiwan earlier this month. So I'm taking all precautions. Okay, all kidding aside, the triathlon that's happening this weekend is in Taidong, which is not that far from Hualien, which is the epicenter of the earthquake that happened a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to include in the description below some links for anyone that cares to donate to help the city and the people recover from that devastating earthquake. Prayers to them. So the triathlon is happening this weekend. I'm nervous and anxious. I'm kind of dreading it, but I'm also looking forward to it. But most of all, I'm so excited and I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control and I think I like it. So today I'm going to review my 5-week training block as a whole. And then I'm going to take you through what I'm doing this week, race week, all the way up to when I leave for the event. Let's dive right into a review of my 5-week training block. I'm putting up a simple chart with a line up top that shows my total training time and the line below that shows what percentage of that time was spent in my higher intensity zones. Since I'm following a polarized 80-20 plan, I wanted to show you what percentage of my time was actually spent in the higher intensity zones. Let's dig a little deeper. As you can see, for most of this training block, I didn't hit that 20% high intensity that I should have. And it's because at the start of the block and towards the end, I got a little sick. So I had to ease off on the high intensity training, and I missed a couple of sessions here and there. I might have caught it from my kids. As I mentioned, I've got 2 boys, they're 10 and 4, and they bring home all sorts of germs from school. But I can't rule out overtraining. I didn't get off the wait list for the triathlon until 6 weeks before the event. So really, I only had this 5-week training block going into the event. So even though I started from a really good foundation of fitness, I went through a pretty intensive 5-week block, and I can't rule out that I may have overcooked it during this last block. And one of the classic symptoms of overtraining is not just fatigue, but also a reduced immunity and thus getting sick. So what does all this mean in the big picture? I think with only a last 5-week training block, plus not enough high intensity, I may lack some high-end speed. So in other words, I think I have a pretty good diesel, but not enough turbocharge. But let's revisit this after the race and see how it all plays out. Okay, so one last thing on training. You can see on the chart that I put up that the last week of this block is for tapering. Tapering refers to reducing training load prior to the competition in order to peak for the event. The trick is to hold on to the training gains while the body recovers. Too much training during tapering and you get fatigued. Too much rest during tapering and you lose fitness. So this balancing act is achieved by reducing volume but maintaining intensity. You can see on the chart that in my taper week, I reduced total training volume quite a bit, around 50%, but I'm still maintaining the same intensity. So again, let's revisit this after the event to see how well this worked out, or not. So aside from tapering on the training front, what else am I doing this week, race week? First, logistics. I'm making sure I've got everything I need packed away, and that includes my 2 transition bags. I'm also cleaning my bike, cleaning my drivetrain, and waxing my chain. This is important, actually, because studies have shown that a cleaner drivetrain could improve your wattage output on the bike by about 5%. But I think the most important thing I'm doing this week is actually getting familiar with the course. I've been scouring YouTube for videos of past events and learning about the course and the conditions around the event. And I found some good stuff. For example, for the swim, I found out that it's in a man-made lake. The water is pretty smooth. I also saw how the swim starts. It's a mass start, not a staggered start, time trial type start. And another thing I learned from these videos is that there's a long slog from the swim to the transition area where I have to run for almost a kilometer. Ugh. But it's good to know. For the bike segment, I found some good videos that give a good sense of the bike course. It looks like a pretty flat course on smooth pavement, on winding roads, which I also confirmed by checking the route on Google Maps. 2 more things to note that I found out through this exercise about the bike route. First, there tends to be a headwind heading out. And second, the road isn't close to traffic, so I need to be mindful of both. And the same thing goes for the run. I found some really good resources that show what to expect for that segment. There were a few videos mentioning that temperature rose significantly as the day goes on, and just checking the weather forecast, it may get pretty hot on Sunday, event day. That tells me that I need to be on my hydration game. And as you can see here, the run goes through roads, sidewalks, and parks, so the pavement is varied and not always smooth. Again, this information helps me to be ready mentally. Another way to look at what I'm doing this week is focusing on the mental side. I've done everything I can from training to get my body ready. So this week, I'm taking mental reps through visualization to up the mental side of my game. And hopefully this, plus training, will give me a lot of confidence going into the event. Wow, I'm here in Taidong. Just got off the train. It's in the afternoon, left Taipei a couple of hours ago. I love taking the train. It's easy to move your bike around. I can get up and stretch my legs. There are a bunch of other people coming to Taidong for the triathlon as well. So it's happening in a couple of days. Check back next week, see how I do in the race. I'll tell you what went well, what didn't, and if I do this again, then that'll be a roadmap for the next time I do this. And last thing I'll say is, I'm so excited. See you all next week.